Do you ever feel like you have to work way too hard to think positively about money? And the second that you stop trying, your mind goes back into stress or not enough. If money affirmations feel fake or forced, then I want to talk about why that happens and what works way better than trying really hard to think positively about money. Also, quick heads up before we dive into the video. If you're already thinking, yes, that's me, my money affirmations are not landing, be sure to stay tuned till the end of the video because I'm doing something special in January where I'm offering free coaching sessions for money manifestation, and it's part of some research that I'm doing. So stay till the end of the video and I'll tell you exactly how to request one of those sessions. So this video is really based on my personal experience with money manifestation. For a long time, I thought the best approach was to really kind of force myself to think positively about money and do whatever it took to stay focused in a positive direction. It took a lot of effort, it got pretty tense at times, and I had a hard time really maintaining that state. And so I would manifest these money ups and downs where sometimes things would go really well and other times things would not go so well for me financially. But finally, I had a bit of an epiphany and I learned how to find a way towards money thoughts that felt really authentic, really true, and that also helped me to have a more consistent positive thinking about money that created a more consistent positive financial reality. So in this video, I'm going to give the full scoop on how I did that and how you can do that too. So let's talk about what's actually happening when money affirmations won't stick. Basically, this comes down to the difference in vibration between your usual money thoughts and the money affirmation that you're trying to repeat or the positive thought you're trying to hold about money. If your usual thinking about money is more, feels like worry, feels like doubt, or feels like anxiety or anything that has more of a tense emotional signature to it or that has a bit more discomfort to it, and then you try to focus on a thought that's really positive, that's really high vibration, that's really different than what you usually think, it's simply too big a vibrational jump, and that's why it's hard to emotionally really feel into it. And the reason why that discomfort even happens is because your inner being, the source part of you, the part of you that knows you're the creator of your reality, that knows your true nature is abundance, it's resonating with that high vibration thought of what you want to be creating with money. But the physical you, the part of you that grew up maybe with parents that worried about money or in a society that had scarcity programming, you just kind of picked up along the way the thoughts that were more worried or more fearful about money or conservative about it or whatever it is. And so there's this vibrational mismatch that is hard to just go from this vibration of what you're comfortable with to this high vibration of your inner being, of the unlimited source part of you. And that's the mistake that a lot of people make with money affirmations, is they're trying to make too big of a jump. And that's why it feels fake. That's why it feels forced. And that is actually the hard way to go about working with money affirmations. So let's move on to the next step of this process. The really important next step to start working with money affirmations in a more powerful and effective way is to, if you're having trouble with this right now, not see yourself as bad at manifesting, as blocked, as like there's something wrong with you. The simple thing about it is that you're just comfortable practicing an old story about money is one way you could say it. And so you're actually really good at manifesting because right now you're manifesting based on the story that you're more comfortable with. And the shift that we're going to talk about making in this video and what will make the real difference in being able to manifest money is simply being able to practice this new story about money, these new, gradually more and more positive, more and more inner being vibration type of thoughts will help you to make the shift to where eventually, and it doesn't have to take too long at all, you'll be able to focus on the money affirmation and unauthentically feel it and really be able to vibrate it and really be able to manifest based off of it, because that's what you really want. You don't want to be trying to fake it till you make it, because even if you're saying the words, if your vibration is still feeling the tension and still feeling the worry, then you're manifesting based off of the tension and the worry. And it's not helping you create what you really want with money. So now I want to share my simple 3-step process for what actually works to have money affirmations really stick and really help you create a new money reality. So I'll walk you through the process really quick, and then I'll share a personal example of how I've used the process and share some snippets from my journal, some personal things, some personal situations that I've gone through with money and how this process really helped me to make some positive changes in my money reality. Step 1 is to notice the old thought habit about money. So the first step is just letting yourself become aware and really own what you actually are feeling about money. If you are used to doing money affirmations, then you may be used to trying to ignore or suppress what you're really feeling and thinking about money, what some of those more worrisome or tense or whatever your kind of true feelings are, if you're not trying to affirm on top of them, are about money. The first step is recognizing those, being able to clarify what those are, letting yourself get in touch with those. We're not going to stay there. We just need to at first recognize what your real thoughts and feelings are about money so that then we can work to shift them. Step 2 is acknowledge the feeling as guidance. So instead of letting the negative feeling mean there's something wrong with you or getting all worried because you think, oh no, I'm thinking negatively and these negative feelings mean I'm manifesting what I don't want, just slow all that down and reframe the negative feeling as just guidance from your inner being, from your source part of you, letting you know that these kinds of thoughts don't match what you want, and just being thankful for that you have that guidance that lets you know when you're focusing in a way that doesn't help you manifest what you want. And so taking any blame off of yourself or judgment or things like that, and just trying to be more neutral in how you think about the feeling is a really helpful next step. And then step 3 is reach for a believable, kinder money thought that's one click better. So after you recognize what your true thought and feeling about money is right now, and you've taken any of the blame off of yourself, you're actually maybe even appreciating, even just a tiny bit, that this is guidance that's trying to help you manifest what you want with money, then the next step is really the heart of the process. And that is to, instead of trying to, if your current thought is something that feels really challenging about money, you're not going to try to force yourself to think something really positive. You're going to look for something that is slightly kinder, that is more of a soothing thought, more of like one click better than what you're thinking right now, is how you could think about it. And yeah, to make this a little more grounded and practical, this process, now I'm going to share a little bit of an example of my own thinking process that helped me to shift a really kind of dramatic and challenging money situation that I was experiencing a few years ago. So I'll start by just telling you briefly what the situation was. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I used to have this pattern of really having these dramatic ups and downs with money, where there would be times where I was really up, manifesting money really well, and then times where things would be pretty bad with money. And so this specific circumstance was one of the lower times, obviously, which is why I was doing this process. And what happened was I had recently been hired for what I thought was kind of my dream job. And they stopped paying me. They paid me the first paycheck, and then that was it. And so I was in the situation of wanting to continue working the job, really enjoying it, but the boss kept saying he was going to be able to pay me, but then it wasn't happening. And so, yeah, let's go ahead and get to the journal thoughts of what I was feeling at that time, and then how I was able to walk myself up the emotional scale, or find the thoughts that kind of soothed and helped raise my vibration and feel this higher level of alignment with, a positive thought about money, because that actually helped me manifest something really cool with money really quickly. So I'm going to tell you about that too. But let's get to the journal. So when I first opened my journal about this topic, the things that I was writing that were the things that felt really true to me, that weren't positive thoughts, they were what I was just feeling at the time, was My job has stopped paying me. I'm running out of money. I feel frustrated. I feel defeated because I always have this up and down roller coaster with money. So, yeah, I was letting myself just feel what I really felt at the time. No filter, no trying to think positive, just putting words to these really hard feelings that I was feeling, just letting myself actually own and recognize what my true feelings were at the time, knowing that that was what I needed to do in order to be able to actually shift that energy, release that resistance, and find a more positive place authentically. Okay, so now let's look at what I wrote in my journal to find some relief from those first statements to start to feel just a little bit better. The kinder thoughts that I found for myself were, yeah, this is my issue, and I'm not alone in this. A lot of people have challenges with money manifesting also. So, of course, this doesn't sound like a money affirmation at all. This is basically just me kind of taking some of the blame off of myself and just letting myself be almost like making peace with having this problem, with kind of letting myself feel a little bit soothed like, hey, I'm not the only one that has challenges with money. Other people have it too. Not doing what I had more commonly done in my head of trying to kind of blame myself or be kind of perfectionist about it and think that I shouldn't have any issues with money. Instead, I was kind of softening towards myself and softening towards the topic and just kind of starting to make peace with having this problem, which of course, that's not a very positive thought necessarily. It's still kind of focusing on the problem, but it was a little bit of a softer, more general perspective on it that made me actually start to feel a little bit better and start to get me closer to where I could think even more positively about money, about this situation. So the next thought I wrote down was simply, okay, that's the situation. It just is what it is. So similar to before, this is just me kind of just making peace with the problem and kind of starting to find a sense of, instead of tension and frustration or even like a sense of defeat like I was feeling when I first started this journaling, now I'm feeling a little bit more of a sense of neutrality, a sense of just kind of letting go of feeling really terrible about this, which is a really positive step towards being able to find a more authentic positive thought. And then that's basically what I chose to focus on next in my journal. So I wrote, okay, so this is my issue, kind of making peace with it. I don't know exactly what to do, but I do feel like finding better feeling thoughts is helpful, and also making it okay that I have this issue. Like, good, something to work with, something to learn with. They say all manifestations are the same. It's the same process. I'm kind of sad about some of my past experiences about money, but I also do believe in my vortex and that those experiences did create an even better money reality for me in there. So I've done good work, and I feel more ready right now to let it be easier. I know for some people it is easy, so that's nice to know. I think it could become easy for me too, like other things that are easy. I know that's in my vortex. So now I'm just kind of like rambling on, talking to myself in that journal passage, just kind of being able to connect more clearly with some of the beliefs that I have about the vortex and about how when we have contrast, as Abraham would say, that creates the opposite in our vortex, that creates this future positive reality that we can live that wouldn't have been there if we hadn't experienced the challenging situation. So I'm reminding myself of the things that I believe about manifesting and they're actually feeling true, versus if I had tried to remind myself about these things when I was feeling more strong negative emotion, they would have felt probably fake or forced, but they're feeling truer, and I'm starting to feel a little more hopeful as I'm finding some of those perspectives and actually thinking about how things could maybe improve for me in this topic too. So those are some of the thoughts that helped me get to more of a feeling of hopefulness, which is a lot more positive than where I started from. But instead of trying to find a feeling of hopefulness from the beginning, I let myself more gradually build to that positive feeling. So it feels at this point way more true, way more believable, authentic, and like it's my true vibration instead of something that I've tried to force or fake. And then the last thing I wrote in my journal was, I so want to open up to the abundance of the universe and what source energy is providing to me. And I believe that I can, one step at a time. And I believe that I deserve it too. For every problem, there is a solution. I can allow the solution. So at this point in my journal, I was really feeling even more positive and able to even more fully go from hopefulness to a sense of belief, to a sense of knowing that there was going to be a solution for me here to this problem with my job. And like I mentioned when I began this example, this journaling was really powerful for me. It did help me to release some of the shame and some of the embarrassment around this having this issue of going up and down with money, and to feel more hopeful, more believing about that situation I was in with my job. And actually, a few hours after I did this journaling, I actually found $2,000 in an account that I didn't know that I had. It's like my vibration before I did this journaling was in a place where I couldn't even see the money that was literally right there for me. But I made this shift, and then that suddenly became obvious to me. So just that to say that, in this example, I wasn't like we've been talking about for this whole video, I wasn't trying to make myself think positive. I wasn't trying to affirm from the beginning something that didn't feel true. I was just gradually working my way into something that felt better and better, something that felt more and more true, just starting from where I was. And that was really effective for helping me authentically find a better feeling and to allow in some of the manifestation of what I really wanted to. So if you decide to play with this, just remember that if your money affirmations haven't stuck in the past, if it's felt like it's been really hard to think positively about money, there's nothing wrong with you. It's just that you've been practicing an old story about money and that it's too hard and perhaps even impossible to move from an old story about money to a story that's really different. And even if it's what you want and what your inner being is thinking, if the vibration is too big of a difference, then it's really hard to authentically feel that. So I invite you, if you want to play with this, to, try to find just that next thought that gives you some soothing, that gives you some relief. It may not even sound like a positive, like a purely positive thought, but if it's something that moves you in that direction, you can just keep working your way to a better and better feeling thought and find resonance with what you really want to create and allow that to manifest. And like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, if you're watching this and you're like, oh, that's me, I've been doing money affirmations and they just don't stick, I would actually really love to talk to you. I'm doing a handful of research conversations with people who are spiritually aware, they've done money affirmations or other money manifesting techniques, but they still feel stuck or wobbly about money. And as a thank you for doing this interview with me, I want to gift you a free intuitive money manifesting coaching session where I will help you look at what is really going on underneath the surface and help you find new, gentler, more effective ways to shift your relationship with money. If that sounds like you, send an email to coaching@adriandecotes.com and tell me you're interested in this session, and we will take it from there. Thank you so much for joining me for this video. I better go ahead and wrap it up. It's getting very close to winter solstice. I am losing the light outside. Apologize for that. But I just want to quickly say, if you liked this video, I think you'll also like this next video because it's all about how to use a 12-point body scan to uncover and clear hidden money blocks. So it's very related to what we just talked about today. Thank you again for watching. Until next time, happy manifesting.